All right, welcome everybody to the Hatfield Borough Council meeting workshop and regular meeting for August 21st, 2024. Our agenda, we'll start that. We'll have a call to order.
President Ferguson.
Here.
Vice President Gerard.
Here.
Councilmember Burns.
Here.
Councilmember Fagan.
Here.
Councilmember Cresser. Here. Mayor Gerard.
Here.
Junior Councilperson Weeder.
Here.
Borough Manager Snyder. Here. Borough Solicitor Harper.
Here.
All right, I'd ask everyone to stand and do a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, if everyone remains standing, Aiden will do our invocation.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us here today. I want to thank you for the great memories and the great people I've met. And thank you for this community and everybody here. They all contribute so much. And we owe it to you and ourselves for how good of a job we do, I'd say. And in Jesus' name, amen.
All right, I love it when we have a full house. We'll start with item 1, approval of the meeting agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for today, August 21st, 2024's workshop and regular meeting?
Motion.
Second.
I get a motion from Councilman Burns, a second from Councilman Cresser. Any questions, changes, or amendments? If there are none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. All right, we'll go to item 2. Can I get approval of the minutes? Can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the July 17th, 2024 workshop and regular meeting?
Moved.
Second.
I get a motion from Councilman Gerard, second from Councilwoman Cresser. Any questions, changes, or amendments? If there are none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. All right, we'll go to item 3, public input. If there's anyone from the public who would like to speak, we would ask you to step up to the podium, make sure the microphone is on, state your name and address and your reason for addressing council. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. It's my first time coming here. My name is Justin Harrison. I live over on Roosevelt Avenue. I was just hoping to make a request of everyone. I heard that there might be some plans to do something over on Roosevelt Ave, specifically 43 Roosevelt. And I just wanted to request any information that the borough may have on it, just because it's right next door to my house. That's it, really. If you guys have it.
Okay.
Madam Manager?
Sure. So 43 Roosevelt Ave was approved to be into 2 townhomes, so 4 units. That was approved, I believe, in 2022. I would be happy to get you any plans, anything that was talked about at a public meeting. We're currently working with their solicitor and our solicitor on a developers agreement, which would talk about escrows, which would talk about, E&S controls, those type of things for the property. We're working through that. As if you, I believe I may have your email address because we've spoke previously, but I'd be happy to share any information so you can look at those approved plans and the resolution that was approved, which would call out what the developer would have to do for that property.
Right, so I just wanted to add, the fact that we're working on developers agreements means that the applicant has said they're about ready to get started building, so.
Yeah.
That's another thing I'm sure you'd want to know as a next door neighbor.
Yeah, and I'm directly next door too, so it's.
Right, and if you come by during the day, then you can actually look at the plans yourself. They're pretty big, but you could look at them and see what's going on.
Okay, yeah, and do you guys know, just out of curiosity, what's happening with the egress that's separating the properties? Is that staying the same?
I believe it's becoming one property. Does that make sense? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Like with the alley behind the back?
Yeah.
Is that what you're
you
talking
guys
about?
Or the township owned the alley before, so I was just,
No, we do not own the alley.
oh, okay.
Yes, no,
Is that also part of 43?
correct. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, then I'll come back to.
Yeah.
the-
Yeah, you, as Solicitor Harper said, you can come in and I can show you the full big set of plans. The ones I can email to you would be what was at a public meeting as part of this packet. So it would be a little bit smaller and condensed. But if you want to come, look at any of the plans, they were talked about at a public meeting, be happy to stop by the office and I'll make sure I pull out the file tomorrow in case I'm not here and you stop by.
Okay,
And Katie can also assist you.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there, are we at a point to where he can still make requests, like if he wants a fence or something like that, or is it all,
That's already.
is it starting?
already-
That's what I figured, so, okay. Well, Justin, welcome to the borough. Anyone else? All right, if there are none, we'll go on to announcements. Madam Manager?
Next council meeting is the September 18th workshop regular meeting at 7 PM in council chambers. The next planning commission meeting was scheduled for Monday, August 26th at 6 PM in council chambers. That planning commission meeting is canceled due to lack of business. PEROC is scheduled to meet Wednesday, August 28th at 8 AM in council chambers. Movie in the Park is scheduled for Thursday, August 22nd at 7:30 PM in Centennial Park on Cherry Street. The strategic planning meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, September 11th at 7 PM here in council chambers. Zoning hearing board meeting for 350 West Broad Street, Shenero Properties LLC is scheduled for Wednesday, September 26th at 7 PM in council chambers. We will talk about that later in the council meeting, more details. And the Hatfield Borough offices will be closed Wednesday, August 28th from 12 PM to 1:30 PM for employee training.
For movie in the park, do you need any support from council?
We encourage any and all to come out and enjoy the movie. I know there'll be a table that has, yeah, items for purchase, so if anyone wants to help out with that table, I'm sure Lindsay would appreciate that.
All right, any questions on the announcements? If not, we'll go to item 5, our junior council person program, and I'll turn it over to Mayor Gerard.
Tonight, council and I would like to recognize the service of Aiden Weeder to the borough. Now, Aiden is the borough's first junior council person, first of many, I think. And just if you're not familiar with junior council person, it is basically what it sounds like. They sit at the table and they can participate in meetings, committees, any activities in the borough. The only thing they can't do is vote and attend the executive session. As I said, Aiden is our first junior council person, and it's not easy being the first to do so. And I have to say that Aiden has handled it with such dedication and diligence. And I personally want to thank him for all that he has done. So Aiden, in recognition of your service, we would like to present to you this token of our appreciation. Let me get it here. Okay, this is a plaque that says presented to Aiden Weeder for his commitment and service to the borough of Hatfield, 2023-2024. And I hope through the years, when you look at the clock, you will think fondly of us. And hopefully you will use any skills and knowledge you have gained by being a junior council. So thank you very much, Aiden. Aiden also would like to say a few words, and I'm waiting to hear. Aiden, as part of his junior council person project, organized a community food drive, and it was very, very successful. So Aiden will speak of that, and he has other words. So Aiden, I'll turn it over to you.
First, I'll give thanks to everyone on council and everyone who's here. Special thanks to Mayor Gerard. She made it so easy and it was fun to work with. On the subject of time, I had a great time being the JCP. It was a special gift, I would say, that was given to me. And, I would say I made some friends. I see all these people on Giant all the time. I'm sure I see some of you guys there too. I just don't, I'm not great with faces. But, yeah, I'm the best mechanic, but we did really well, I'd say, with the food drive. Tons of friends, family and community members came in and donated. Got tons of pasta, toiletries, canned goods. The people around the church and food drive were very appreciative of it. And of course, all this goes to help people in your community and people who need it. And that's always a good thing to do. That's what council does. That's what we all try to do, is help our part of the community. Other than that, I just want to thank my mom and of course Jesus Christ, and give the best wishes to Malachi, and he'll do great. And thank everybody, thank everyone for the award, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Well, Aiden, best of luck in your future endeavors. Now, I found myself being mixed emotions. I'm sorry to see Aiden leave, but I'm so excited to introduce our new junior council person. And that is Malachi Nisbet. Malachi, if you want to come forward? Was at Brookbend High School, and I'll just read off some of his very impressive accomplishments. He was the public relations manager of the student body. He was a youth leader at Zion Ambler Youth. He is the senior patrol leader in the Boy Scouts, and he's working with his Eagle. And in addition to that, he is a Bucksmont Honor Course. He's a photographer. His Enfield Chorus and Vocal Ensemble, Star of Zion, Philadelphia Boys Choir, Joy Unlimited, Junior Usher, choir member. I could go on and on, there's so many things here. And on top of that, he won the Presidential Award for Academic Excellence in May of 2024, and an Inspiring Youth Award in August of 2023. So I'm looking forward to working with Malachi, and I think we all are. And I just want to welcome you, and I will administer the pledge to Malachi. And if your parents will call. If you want to stand, let's, we can do this. I will ask you to, well, just face me and raise your right hand. Okay, and repeat after me. I, Malachi Nisbet, do solemnly pledge that I accept the position of Hatfield Borough Junior Council Person and promise to attend monthly council meetings, observe borough council meeting rules,
Observe the Bureau of Council meeting boards
and actively participate in borough business.
and actively participate in Bureau of Council.
I understand that I cannot vote on any issue,
I understand that.
and I cannot attend executive sessions.
I cannot attend.
Okay, congratulations and welcome aboard.
We got Rich taking pictures.
Yeah, I know she asked, like, oh, guys.
Yeah, he's taking a picture.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, we had that picture,
Yeah.
can we? Get for perhaps on the back.
Oh, yeah, do you want us to move?
Good picture.
Yeah. That's the packet for you. It's literally that's on the slides, so. If you want to follow along.
Are we good? We did.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
All right, welcome. A time of transition. Thank you, Madam Mayor. All right, we'll go to item 6, our reports from our standing committees and the mayor. We'll start with budget, finance, and labor. We did not meet since the last borough council meeting, so there's nothing to report. Planning, building, and zoning.
So we are scheduling a meeting. We're waiting to hear from Bob, the zoning officer, to give us a date when he can meet, but we will meet before the next borough council meeting.
How about public safety?
Committee has not met since the last meeting that we had.
Public works?
Public Works, Property and Equipment did meet yesterday. We went over a number of topics, some of which were the ADA curb ramps are now complete. So we got those done for the year, for the ones that were scheduled for this year. The roadway resurfacing, I think we are just down to some punch list items. So we're pretty much done with that as well. Just a couple odds and ends that Steve had pointed out. And we did talk about the utility replacement project that's going to be upcoming on North Main and East and West Broad, and they're expecting to begin that sometime near the end of September. Other than that, Public Works does have a position opening in that department, so I just kind of want to bring a little publicity to that they are currently taking applications. So if you know anybody that's interested in a position with Hatfield Public Works, please get the application out. Would they just send it to Steve or?
Typically, they're sending everything to Keith.
Okay. All right. Yep. So you can get it through our website, contact Kate if anybody is interested and would like to apply. And yeah, other than that, there's one other little item. We do have dash cameras that came in for our all the vehicles that are on the road are going to have dash cams installed. Currently in one truck, and but we did get them all delivered for the rest of the vehicles. And I believe it was a grant that paid for them, correct? Yeah, so we got a grant to pay for them, so looking good there. That's pretty much it. Unless anybody has questions.
Is there any kind of insurance break we might get for having those?
Well, it was through Divot, right?
Okay.
The grant was through our insurance provider.
No, I just meant like overall, like a break on insurance in general for having those.
No,
Okay.
I
But
wish
we-
it was like State Farm, like good driving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
That'd be good, like good driver.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll make sure they're all up and running for plowing season and get them in the street sweeper too. So make sure, we're getting all that footage for when they're on the road.
That's good.
Yeah, I think definitely helpful when there's drivers trying to go around you and whatnot. Other than that, that's it.
So the only question I have is, do we, and I know I've asked this before, with regard to the ADA ramps, right? We know we're currently cycling through all the roads at the current design level. And I know that potentially could change, but do we know when we're going to get all those completed? What year?
And if you know,
I can get that to you.
Okay.
I have done, a lot of it's dependent on budget for labor, and what is allocated each year.
Mhm.
But if I did like an average, I've done an average before and how many are remaining that are not compliant. So I can get that to you.
Okay. Because that'll extend out past our 5-year plan. So
It will extend.
Right,
past 5
right.
years.
I'm just curious what that is. And obviously the specification can change and we might have to go back and redo and start all over again. But I'm just kind of curious at the current level, when we'd get
If
that
the
done.
Specs don't change, how long until they're all complete?
Right.
I've done the work. I just don't have it in front of me. off
Okay.
the top of my head.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Any other questions? All right, how about utilities, Rich?
We have not met recently, business of any kind.
How about Hurrock?
Hurrock's not met recently, but we do have a meeting coming up, as mentioned earlier, on this coming Wednesday at 8 o'clock here in Borough Council, at Borough Council Chambers.
All right, Madam Mayor?
Anything I want to mention is that the recycling commission solicitor has submitted the amended intermunicipal agreement and new recycling ordinance. And I believe it's with Kate.
Right, I've already started converting the model ordinance into a Hatfield ordinance. I'm just comparing it to the last one
Okay.
to see if there's any changes that I want to call out to you, okay? But I got it, and then we also have the agreement, so at some point in the near future, we'll have an ordinance to advertise and an intermunicipal agreement to approve. Now, you sit on that committee, don't you, Mayor Gerard?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought there was a discussion about changing something on either the voting or the way the grants are handed out.
The way the grants are handed out, right now, it's based on population. But they are proposing that, because it really wasn't a fair distribution, because some boroughs were very, very diligent in their recycling, and they were getting a small amount of the grant because, you know, their population was low. So the way it will be figured in the future is going to be the tonnage versus the population.
Is it just tonnage or is it tonnage per capita? Because that's where I was
There's a-
confused.
right, there's a, I don't know the exact, but I thought it was tonnage. I don't know the population is entering in, but I don't know that. okay?
Right, so I'm gonna look at how it's worded on that. The reason I say it is because it may change the amount of grants that you're going to get or something like that. It's probably not fair just to do it on population, and the grants themselves are tonnage per capita, I think. Like if you have so many people, but you recycle so much, I think that matters, you know?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I think that is the recycling rate.
right,
Okay, so we have North Wales has an incredible recycling rate, but because they're small, they get a small amount. So it'll be figured, but it should be spelled out. And supposedly the new consultants, we will not receive anything less than if we were submitting our own grant.
okay.
So
So that's
we have
tonnage.
nothing to lose, really.
Right, we have nothing to lose. Okay, good. I saw that was a change, but I wasn't sure I understood exactly how it went. So thank you for letting me know. So that's the kind of thing I'll put in a little memo and then produce the agreement and the ordinance.
They're also going to, the consultants also has a formula to figure out by combining different
Right.
municipalities, subgroups, that should maximize the grant.
I actually read that was important, that if they had a place that had a lot of tonnage and a place that didn't, and they combined them, they both do better than if either
Right.
one did it alone.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting.
and they figured out how to do that. 15 municipalities we have?
No, 11.
11,
They
okay.
started out, I believe, with 15 or 16,
Okay,
and now we're down to 11 because the grant money hasn't been all that great.
no,
A
the
lot-
grant money has gone down in general,
In general,
statewide,
recycling has gone down.
right? And the money allocated to grants has gone down statewide, so that's not anybody's fault. Decide whether you want to be in it. Of course, it's a lot easier to have the Northern Montgomery Recycling Commission do the counting and the submission of grants and the combinations where they work
Mhm.
than to try to do that on your own. So,
Is there any kind of time crunch or timeline we have to get this done by, the
Well, I
ordinance?
think they want to start off the new year
Okay,
having this done.
okay,
So there's still some time.
yeah, so we're talking,
And we're
okay,
not due to meet until October 19th. So I would hope that, you know, by that time I have more to report.
okay. All right, any questions for the mayor? All right, if not, we'll go to item 7, reports and correspondence. We'll start with our monthly investment report.
The monthly investment report was in your packets, including the cash accounts through June 30th, 2024. Always just highlighting the last page when we talk about investments. You can see the gain and loss. Just kindly reminding you that the capital reserve and sewer capital reserve looks like we lost $263,000. Same with sewer capital, 267. We did not. We borrowed 250 from each to make some debt payments. So they tend to fall in line with where we are. Sewer is up 30,000. I do have a meeting scheduled with Pliget because we're dealing with some things for PMEA. So I am going to be asking them for their rates, just so Budget Finance and Labor can look at that as we're going through the budget and as we're going into 2025 to just be good stewards of the money that we have in investments. Just because we have them with KeyBank, they don't have to stay at KeyBank. It's what makes the best return for the borough. So I'm working with, I said, Pliget and Paul, and we will, he'll give us some rates and I'll share that with Budget Finance and Labor and see if there are any decisions we want to make for the new year and during the budget season.
Any questions? All right, how about EIT and LST?
EIT and LST was included in your package. You'll see year to date, we're at 322,000. In 2023, we were at 368,000. August was a big month for us in 2023. Currently not so big for us. Doesn't mean that we won't make that money back up in September. It's just when it comes in. So if you look over the total months, we are on schedule for where we had budgeted. We just had a little bit slower month in August this year than we did in 2023. Moving to LST, year to date, we're 45,342, and in 2023, we were at 43,215. So again, we are on target, maybe a little bit ahead of where we were last year, and it looks like it's falling in line with what we have predicted for the 2024 budget. I mentioned it last meeting, but because we're getting into the budget season, I've already seen the 2025 budget. I'm already working on that with Diane. She's got my first revisions. We will be addressing EIT and LST in that budget. Maybe it can bring us some more revenue. Maybe we kind of were conservative in 2024, but let's see where our numbers are in mid-September when we meet with Budget Finance and Labor, and again through October to see if we can maybe increase that as a revenue source for the borough moving forward.
Any questions? All right, how about the monthly year to date?
Monthly year to date is in your packets, more back on track in June for your revenues at 354. In 2023, our revenues were around 400,000. So that's obviously back on track versus May and say March, where we've gotten some grant funds or we've borrowed some money and pushed that out. Same with expenses. It seems to be on track where we have fallen in 2023.
All right, questions? All right, monthly zoning and hearing.
Monthly zoning hearing board application, a new application came in for 350 West Broad Street, which is actually Vinny's Pizzeria. So because they had to go to zoning for their original use, it used to be a bank, and they had to go to zoning to be able to put a restaurant in there. If they are doing any expansion over 5% of the total floor coverage, they have to go back to zoning hearing board. They would like to put out the back of their building a storage, like for currently now they have a really small storage and they have to actually walk outside to get storage and bring it back into the building. So they would just like to connect that to the building. They had listed here that it was 536 square feet. So it's not a giant addition, it's not a 2-story, it's nothing like that, but because it's over 5% of the building, they have to go back to zoning because they got the use through zoning. That is scheduled for the end of September.
Right. You have the right to take a position, take no position, oppose it, approve it, whatever. Or you can do what we usually do here, which is just let the zoning board make a decision. So this is not a particularly big application, but if you wanted to, you could take a position on it.
My only question would be and obviously without having seen plans, does it impact the aesthetics or the neighbors or anything like that? I don't know exactly when you're talking about expanding, you're talking about on the backside towards Talminson? That they're gonna expand it? or-
They're gonna expand it if you were, I'm gonna say, I'm standing on West Broad Street and I'm looking at Vinnie's. And here is Vinnie's front door, the back here, where it already has a storage
Okay.
facility, that area is proposed to be expanded.
Okay, towards where the triangle is in the property. So,
Correct,
okay,
yes.
okay. So it doesn't really affect neighbors in a
No.
direct line or anything like that, so.
No, and he did ask Bob, before he knew that this had to go to zoning, he did ask Bob about the aesthetics of the building, like, should it be X? Because when he had to build the building, it had to be brick, and, he did go through the whole process, and Bob looked at the guidelines with him, how we have like core commercial guidelines, even though that's not exactly where his property is, but kind of like what the aesthetics in the area are, like, cause it's kind of mixed in with the residential area. I think he's listed R4 maybe. So he is conscious of that, and I think that could be a discussion at zoning, that he would comply. I don't want to assume that he would, but he
Right.
was very upfront and honest and did ask those questions to make sure that it did fit into the neighborhood when he met with Bob originally.
And of course, the neighbors close to this will get a notice. So
Mhm.
they can show up and ask the question or make their opinions known.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else, but I'm content leaving it to zoning hearing, to make the determination. My only thing, like I said, as long as it's aesthetically fits in with the rest, I'm fine. I don't see there being any
That's
issue.
actually something they're allowed to look at. Whether it changes the character of the neighborhood is one of the standards for variance.
Mhm. Okay. Thoughts of the rest of council?
Do you remember when they went to? Because didn't some of the neighbors bring suit or something?
Yeah, so,
What was do you know what the argument was?
yeah, when it originally went to zoning, yes, the neighbors did appeal the decision and took it to the higher court level, but it never progressed. From that, I believe the neighbors dropped it. If I'm not mistaken, you can correct me.
That's what I
believe.
think too.
I believe that they dropped it. I think just what I kind of remember from the zoning hearing board, a lot of it was aesthetics fitting into that neighborhood, smell of food, trash, those type of items of like bringing a restaurant into that area versus a bank, and what that impact would be to the neighborhood. Like not being able to have a drive-through, like how the bank had a drive-through, so he couldn't have drive-through. I think no delivery was one of the things they talked about. Yeah, a lot of them were like, you can't exit the one way, you can only come in because headlights in the back of Heather Meadows. Those were some of the concerns that the neighbors brought up during that zoning hearing board meeting.
Did we get any complaints from anybody after they opened along those lines?
After they opened, maybe a few, but it's been several years now. There haven't been any complaints that I'm aware of. I'm not sure that if Vinny received any complaints or people don't patronize his, but I'm unaware of that. But the borough didn't receive any complaints kind of after everything kind of settled down after it got approved, and then it went to like the appeal process, and then they kind of pulled back from the appeal process. It kind of has settled down.
The reason for those questions is just trying to determine if we need to look forward to some kind of opposition to this.
Oh, okay.
from the-
Yeah.
For the residents.
And I know that he was required to put specific landscaping in and those things that he did comply with per zoning hearing to try to eliminate the headlights and, try to put around his garbage, he has to like fence it in. So those things were requirements of the original zoning hearing board.
Thank you. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, all right. I think we're good then. We don't have a position.
Okay.
So, yep. All right. We'll go to Steve Barth and Barth Consulting.
There was no official report from Steve Barth, included in your packets, but I did want to highlight that in the new Informer that will be out. I'm not sure if it was delivered yet, but it was delivered to the borough office. It should be delivered shortly to all homes. He does have a nice article on page 9 that highlights the revitalization. He talks about what we can look forward to and that your voice does matter, the community matters, and kind of went over the community results from our town hall in May. So I thought that was just a nice article that he put together for the Informer. And he's currently working with businesses and the tourism, the Valley Forge Tourism, to get businesses signed up. The borough has signed up to be a part of that. That's a website that gets, 200,000 visitors a day. It's insane. Like when he was telling me the numbers, I was like, that many people like come to this part of Pennsylvania? You don't think about it, but there's a lot of like Lansdale's listed, say even like maybe like Souderton, Ambler. I'm thinking of kind of places where there are to go. So Hatfield Borough will now be listed on that website. It'll list restaurants that you can visit here, can list our parks. It can list, if we had a hotel where you could stay, accommodations that if you come to the borough, and it will feature us on this website. They will share all our social media. So the borough has to be a member of that. And there was money in the subscription part of our 2024 budget to become a member. And then businesses also join. So if, for example, Poppy's Restaurant joins, they'll be featured on the website. So the municipality is also featured along with like the businesses. So he's been working on that.
Okay. Any questions? If not, we'll go on to our police department report.
One thing I'd like to add is a reminder that the consortium test is, deadline for that test is going to be August 28th. So anybody that still wants to send a family member our way, to moncopolicetest.com, they can sign up and, be a police officer. I believe we have 19 departments in the consortium. So if you know anybody, please direct them to the website, and we have links tomorrow as well.
Any interesting events you want to highlight from the last month?
No, just your typical fireworks and loose dogs. A lot of loose dogs around last.
Okay. I know we have lots of feral cats around too, so. All right, if there's nothing there, we'll go on to the fire department report.
Fire department report was included in your packets. Butch is unable to make the meeting this evening, but as you see in July, 35 calls. This is a report January through July, so just 35 calls alone in July. He said if you have any specific questions about the fire company or anything with the calls, let me know. I can send him an email, or you can send him an email personally. He'd be happy to answer any questions. He was just unable to make it this evening.
All right, if there are no questions, we'll go on to EMS.
EMS report was included in your packets. There were 6 calls within our zone out of the 1,090 calls total for the month of July. When you look at the bottom, you can see our top 5 calls, and the top call was actually sick person, which was the same as last month. We're actually getting away from falls. That was the lowest on the list this month, which is surprising. We tend to have falls as our #1 call in the borough with just an aging population. If there are any questions, be happy to reach out to the chief and answer them for you.
To the human resource group, she was not saying our population's old. Let me make sure I'm clear on that, so before we get in
Most
trouble.
Experience.
Yeah, no,
It's an experience.
most boroughs tend to have an aging population because people love to live here so much they never want to leave.
There you go. I like that. Good answer, good answer.
Chamber of Commerce.
That's why she's our manager. All right, Public Works, Steve?
Unless there's any additional questions, the only couple things I really wanted to highlight was kind of like what Jimmy said, the paving was completed, through the Web School, Jade, Jean, and June Drive neighborhoods. We did do the pipe crossing of the, failing storm sewer pipe across West Vine Street. Went much better than I had ever expected. We were able to complete everything 100% in one day, instead of the multiple days that I had initially expected. So we're obviously happy about that. And like Jimmy said, we are currently seeking a employee for the Public Works Department. We had one of our guys leave, going on to not better things, because I'm not going to downgrade us, but other things. So we are currently seeking, as the police, additional people. So if anybody knows anybody, send them my way, or Katie's.
So Steve, Larry had questioned, was the efficiency gain due to the new backhoe?
100%.
There you go.
All right.
Way to go, Steve.
I was gonna tell you that in private. You called it out.
Well, he actually leaned over and said that. I was like, oh, yeah, you know. So, I actually was gonna give you a break on that, but he
And
decided
I
to.
will give a big thank you to my guys because it was one of the hottest days we had this year that we did this job. Was not planned to be on the hottest day. It was just something that was coordinated with people on the street, specifically Brooks, because it was very impactful for them because we shut the road down. So they had to coordinate their employees and how to enter the building that day and deliveries for that day as well. So because of the time frame on how long out we had coordinated this with Brooks specifically, it just happened to be one of the hottest days. So
Yeah.
we stuck it out, we got out there, we did it, and we just stayed there till it was done.
Do you foresee any shortages now that you're gonna be an employee down? Any thing that we need to be worried about getting work done?
I mean, no, when I first started here, we had a three-man public works crew with the public works director. That's what we're at right now. We were lucky enough to be able to hire an additional person in our crew, and it was great. So the guys that we have now are kind of used to working with what we have. You know, even plowing in the wintertime, if it goes that long, I don't foresee any big issues.
We discussed that at the meeting yesterday, like vacations and stuff like that. He said he's got a few coming up. So,
Okay.
yeah, he said he's got a couple.
He gives his guys vacation.
He does, but I don't know who approved them.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that in executive session, so.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
My hands are tied.
Okay.
One other thing I'd like to add to that is that we had a couple, Mayor and I had some comments made by some of the neighbors in the area where the repaving work was done, and it was much appreciated. Everybody was so pleasantly surprised at how smooth it went, no problems and everything, so good job.
Thank you.
There are no questions for Steve. We'll go on to the engineering report.
Chad's report was included in the packet. I just want to highlight, I know that Councilmember Fagan highlighted the Broad Street and North Main Street utility replacement project, and Steve highlighted a little bit too. I just wanted to draw to your attention that in our, because it's part of Chad's report, in our Borough Informer, there is a section on page 8 that specifically talks about the utility replacement project and the detours that are also going to come with the utility replacement project. Also myself, who have been working with Lindsay in the office and Steve, we're working on a specific section of the borough website directly to this project. This project is going to impact Hatfield Borough. We have never, since I've worked here in 2012, same with Steve, outside of building this municipal building, have never had a project of this size in the borough, especially on the major corridor that comes into the borough on East and West Broad Street and North Main Street. So there's going to be delays, there's going to be impacts. I'm sure my phone's going to ring. I'm sure Steve's phone's going to ring. I'm sure you guys are going to get some emails. So we are trying to get ahead of it. We're trying to let people know it's going to start, at the end of possibly end of September, beginning of October. There will be detours. All the detour maps are posted on the website. We'll probably try to do some like daily updates or progress updates on the website, kind of how this project is going along, just to open communication and be transparent, what's going on with the streets and let the residents know. So on, like I said, page 8 of the Informer that's coming out, it talks about the project, talks about the areas and like how you can get to the borough website. And just, I would encourage anybody to share that information. I know a lot of people are going to probably be calling about it. It's going to make major impacts to the borough. The rest of Chad's report, he highlighted the roadway resurfacing project and really no updates in his report for the subdivision and land development.
Any questions on the engineering report? All right, if not, we'll go to zoning officer.
Zoning officer's report in your packets talking about fire safety inspections for 2024. They're continuing to do those. You'll see the notice of violations that were listed for East Broad, June Drive, East Lincoln Avenue, and multiple door hangers for high grass, which happens this time of year. I also want to highlight Councilmember Burns said that we will be meeting with Planning, Building, and Zoning this month We are continuing to work on the rental inspection program with Bob in that department. And also our solicitor provided a property maintenance update. I believe we're still maybe on 2002 and we could be on 2018 or 2021. This would allow us to have, enact this property rental inspection program and be a little bit more strict on property maintenance in Hatfield Borough. Just some things that we can enforce that we can't enforce now because it's not part of our code. So the solicitor worked on that. She did send that over to Katie, myself, and Bob. Bob is reviewing it and it will be on for discussion at that meeting as well. So hoping to get this kind of up and running and enacted so we can start to implement it in 2025.
One ask on the fire inspections, can we put a percentage on there for how we're progressing?
Yes,
On the front.
he normally does put,
Okay.
like a report that listed, I think last month, I want to say, don't quote me, 54%.
Okay.
Where we are year to date, but he normally does. And then I looked today and that wasn't in there. So I'm guess he just didn't do it this
Okay.
month. But
All right.
yes, I will make sure that when I can have it for the next meeting.
Okay. Any questions on the zoning officer's report? If not, we'll go to fire marshal and safety.
There was no fire marshal report in your packet.
All right. So I'm assuming there's no questions for that, so we'll go to pool advisory.
There was no pool advisory report in your packet.
All right, any questions on the reports in general? If not, we'll go to item 8, the manager's report.
My report was included in your packets. Just want to highlight under land use and development updates, 23 North Main Street. 23 North Main Street submitted plans that will be going to the Planning Commission on 9/23 and Borough Council on 11/6. So look for those plans to be delivered. I believe the development is now called, it was Arbor Grove. I believe it's called Hatfield Walk is what the development is called now. So yes, that's the same development that they're talking about. So just drawing that to your attention, as I know that's a hot topic and people have been asking. So it will be on Planning Commission, like I said, in September, and Borough Council in November, which gives Planning Commission 30 days to review it before it goes to Borough Council.
It looked like they took one unit out.
They did. It's an
Four and
8,
four.
yeah, it's an 8-unit, proposed 8-unit development from 9. Also wanted to highlight just some items of interest of the Bike More Drive Less grant. We're starting to meet, starting to get an advisory board together for that and work on bike audits. We've been reaching out to some, there's a nice article, I think, on the back. This Informer's just jam-packed this time. Volunteers needed for the new bicycle project. So it's the Bike More Drive Less grant. If you bike in the borough, I know there's a couple residents on Talmenton that I reached out to. There is a resident on West Vine. If you know any of your friends that bike in the borough, let them know. We'd love to have them and their input on the Bike More Drive Less. Also the AARP audit that goes with that. So you can reach out to me. I can get you connected with Lucas. Also in your packets, the 2024 Forest Park Water Golf Outing flyer. If anyone's interested in golfing, please let me know and I can have you signed up. We are looking to do a Garden of Health Volunteer Day. So Garden of Health is located in Hatfield Township. We're looking to do a volunteer day with Hatfield Borough, Hatfield Township, and North Penn Water Authority. The end of September, we're still trying to line up those dates. So if you're interested in volunteering during the day for Garden of Health, picking vegetables, picking weeds, just donating your time and services, an email should come out about that if it's something that you're interested in.
Is that the garden on Clemens?
It is,
Road?
yes, yeah. So there'll be, I think we're talking about on a Friday from 12 to 3 is kind of what we've been discussing. Like I said, Hatfield Borough, Hatfield Township, North Penn Water. And just get together, give back to the community, help out the Garden of Health. I know it's something that the mayor and Vice President Gerard had volunteered for before, but I think it rained, correct? Yes. And I think you may have volunteered in the past too for it. So look for more information on that. And also want to just highlight it, future items of interest. Some of them were talked about this evening. September and October are going to be really busy months for us. So I just wanted to bring to your attention that We will be working on a lease agreement with the tenant at the SEPTA property. We are currently working on that with Budget Finance and Labor and the solicitor. So we will be moving forward with that. You should see that in the September meeting. The municipal waste collection ordinance that the mayor highlighted, along with updating the intermunicipal agreement with the Northern Montgomery County Recycling Commission. Hope to see that in September. And we will be borrowing funds for the utility replacement project. That will also be on in September. A motion to advertise borrowing for the 2.9 million for a public hearing at the first meeting in October. So there are a lot of things coming up. I didn't want you to see the September meeting and be like, whoa, where did all this come from? So if you have any questions about any of those items, be happy to discuss in more detail, but kind of just wanted to bring it to the forefront that it's going to be busy September, October, and we're moving into budget season. That was really it. If there are any other questions.
All right, if not, we'll go to item 9, new business and discussion items. Item A, resolution 2024-17, closure of certain borough roads.
This is an annual resolution authorizing the closure of East Lincoln Avenue in the borough for the Fall Fest and Car Show, which is going to take place on September 21st. And the road is authorized to be closed 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. for the car show, for the setup and the cleanup. So this is on for consideration as an action item.
All right, any questions? Pretty standard. We do it every year. So,
Yes, yeah.
yep.
Anytime we have an event.
Yep. Item B, defined benefit plan 2024 minimum municipal obligation.
B and C, so the defined benefit plan, minimum municipal obligation is our obligation that we have to pay for our retirement funds. This is for the defined benefit. And also C talks about the defined contribution plan. I will highlight in 2024, our minimum municipal obligation was $84,158 for the defined benefit. It has dropped significantly to $67,086. I can attribute that to that the defined benefit plan sunsetted at the end of 2023. So there will be no more increases to that plan for those employees that are vested in that plan. So we will kind of know moving forward what our pension obligation is going to be. We should know. I know sometimes the market can get funny, especially with the defined contribution plan. And moving into C, the defined contribution plan, that's the plan that the borough will contribute to employees. We just enacted the ordinance to up that to 4% for staff and 7% for the manager. In 2024, that was $30,100 proposed. As you see here for 2025 is $30,500, not that significant of an increase. And both of those are on for consideration as an action item. And both of those amounts have been updated in the 2025 proposed budget.
And what did we have in the never mind, we're covered for 2024. Never mind.
You just have a legal obligation to do it in public, so everybody knows that you know what you have to contribute to make sure the pension stays solid.
Right.
Quick question, the underlying investments that help fund this, are they a variable amount or is that figure now locked in to whatever because of the big decrease from last year to this year?
It's variable. It's based on the market. So we have somebody that manages it for us. So I can follow up, but I believe that the big decrease was they had he told us that I think it was 80,000 last year, right? Yeah, 84,000. When we asked, because that was a big increase from the year before, he just said like the stability suggests that it would be higher. And we had asked, and I know we talked about this at the meeting last year, and the numbers came in a lot less than the 84,000. I think we only ended up having the budget maybe closer to 68 or 69,000. So it was just, he kind of projected it to be higher just based on market and those things, but it ended up coming in less. Diane and I do meet with our pension provider at least once, depending on the market, sometimes twice a year, just to make sure that what they are looking into and those investments that they're making are the best that they can on behalf of the employees.
Thank you.
All right, we talked about item C. Item D, resolution 2024-18, the TCC voting delegates.
The Montgomery County Tax Collection Committee needs to assign a delegate and an alternate to be able to vote at their meetings. The last time we had done this, Diane and I think might have been 2011. They're just looking for an updated delegate. And normally Diane attends and then the manager would just be the backup. That's how it was last time. Because it talks about, requires governing bodies, school district, townships, boroughs, and cities that impose an earned income tax to appoint one voting delegate and one or more alternates to the TCC. And this resolution just does that. So Diane attends the meetings. And they used to be more often than they are, when I say quarterly, a lot of times they're at Montgomery Township. She gets with all the other finance directors in the area. They go to the meetings, and if there's anything to vote on, it gives her the right to do that on behalf of the borough. And it's on for consideration as an action item.
Any questions? If not, we'll go to item 10, old business, which I assume there's none.
I do not have any.
Okay. All right, that brings us to the fun part of the evening, the action items. We will start with, sorry. Oh, you looked at me like you were gonna say something. We'll start with item A, motion to consider resolution 2024-17, closure of certain borough roads for the annual Fall Fest and Car Show event.
Second?
A motion from Councilman Burns, second from Councilwoman Cresser. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. Motion passes. Item B, motion to consider the defined benefit pension plan for 2025, minimum municipal obligation in the amount of $67,086.00.
Motion?
I have a motion from Councilwoman Cresser, a second from Councilman Gerard. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. Motion passes. All right, item C, motion to consider the defined contribution pension plan for 2025, minimum municipal obligation for employees receiving contributions of their annual income in the amount of $30,500.00.
Seconded.
I get a motion from Councilwoman Cresser, a second from Councilman Fagan. Sorry about that. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. Motion passes. All right, item D, motion to consider resolution 2024-18, appointing Diane Farrell, the borough treasurer, and Jamie E. Snyder, borough manager, as TCC voting delegates.
Second?
I get a motion from Councilman Burns, a second from Councilwoman Cresser. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. Motion passes. All right, item 12, the bills. Is there, before we get into motions, are there any questions on the bills?
I will just highlight that if you see the AMP Ohio bill, it's $219,000. So that is because we were in the heat wave in July. I did look back. We track every bill. I have it since 2013. It just gets updated. So the last time in July that we were over 200,000 was July of 2022. We were at 218,000. Last year, same time, we were 180,000. So it just depends on the weather. And I knew this bill was going to come in. When we talked about it, I said, we're going to get an over $200,000 bill for July. It's not abnormal. It's not what we want, but it's common when we have the heat waves come in. So it's not the highest we've ever paid, but it does kind of fall in line when we hit those like peak days and, you know, summer heat, along with sometimes we often see those high in the winter time as well.
Have we had any feedback from residents or anyone complaining yet? Out of the ordinary complaining, I should say.
No.
Okay.
My wife.
Well, she's married to you.
Yeah, I
so
know.
that's,
She plays it all.
Any other questions on the bills? All right, so we'll go to make a motion. Can I get a motion to approve the bills for payment or payment of the bills?
Move it.
Second.
I get a motion from Councilman Gerard, second from Councilman Burns. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. Motion passes. All right, we will have an executive session. So can I get a motion to adjourn our meeting?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
All right, meeting is adjourned.